Hey everyone, welcome to Curveball. I'm Heather Campbell, and today I am here with Dr. Zarya Rubin. This lady spent 15 years chasing the dream of becoming a doctor, and she got there, and that is not an easy path. But a sudden death and the crushing weight of burnout forced her to confront the truth. The path she worked so hard for had become a nightmare, like that dream, no more. The realization sparked a total life reset, a new career, new country, literally a new visa and a new life. Now she's reinvented herself in the world of functional medicine and burnout prevention. Her mission is to help others step off the hamster wheel before it breaks you. Oh, and when she's not, this is amazing. When she's not helping people heal, she's an opera singer who's performed at Carnegie Hall and with Andrea Bocelli. Of course, because of course she has. Her mantra, do one thing less. Simple, but not easy, but also life-changing. Zara, welcome to Curveball. I want to know, take me back to that moment. I think it must be so hard, like the pressure, to be a doctor, all the shit you have to go to become a doctor, and then to finally become one and be like, hold on a second. That really takes a lot of courage to say, because that train is a speeding train, to say, hold on a second, stop. So what was that turning point when you realized I got to walk away from this?
Yeah, so that's a really, really great question. And it is such a tough process to contemplate. Medicine is one of those things. I mean, I think there are a lot of these things in life where you have to invest so much in it and you start so young and you are putting everything you have towards it. And it's all about the next achievement, the next step on the ladder. And you're on this moving sidewalk. It's going quickly. It's hard to step off of it. Like you said, it will just keep carrying you forward and dangling each carrot in front of you. Well, you just have to take this test. You just have to pass this exam. You just have to succeed in this rotation and so on, and do all your pre-med requirements. And then you get into medical school and go to medical school and then apply to residency and on.
Well, and I never knew. I don't know what kind of psychologically fucked up person decided the matching system for medical school.
Yeah.
That I don't know if people, I had no idea that even happened. So you have to pick a school and that school has to pick you too.
Yes.
You have to match.
Yeah.
And if you do not match, I met someone who it was their dream to be a doctor and they did not match with anyone. And I'm like, then what do you do? And they're like, well, you can reapply. But I'm just like, that is so messed up.
It's quite Machiavellian and it's quite cruel. And yeah, I ended up matching to a program that I really didn't like. And in a location that I really didn't like. It was dark and cold most of the time. So
where was it?
That was in Edmonton, Alberta.
Oh, yeah. So where it gets dark at 4 p.m.
Yeah, or 3. Yeah.
But somehow in the summer, does it stay light until
it stays
10?
Light until midnight. Yeah, no, it's amazing.
You're just like, jeez. Yeah,
summer's amazing. But so it makes it that much harder because not only are you, there's so much that's out of your control and you're kind of at the mercy of the system and you just might not get what you want and you've worked so hard for it. And yet it's all about an algorithm and matching, and a lot of it's out of your hands. And I picked a specialty, neurology, that was very competitive. There were only 8 spots in the country. So you didn't really have a good shot at getting necessarily what you wanted, your first choice.
Right.
So the fact that I got a spot at all was incredible, but it turned out that it just really wasn't the right fit for me on so many levels. I think a lot of people say, well, you probably went into medicine because your parents pressured you, because that's very common. And I'm Jewish, and Jewish mother, the stereotype, be a doctor.
Right.
That was not the case. My parents were not in favor of it. And I think that pushed me even further in that direction for another reason, the sort of reverse psychology of it. And I wanted to show everyone that they were wrong and that I could do this and that I could succeed. And it was the right choice for me. But sadly, they were right. I was wrong.
Right.
But by that point, it really almost felt too late. You have gone so far. You've invested so much time, mental energy, financial investment. It just doesn't feel possible to walk away from it. So you keep thinking, you keep telling yourself, well, I'm just going to keep going. Maybe the next step will be the thing that makes me realize this is the right choice or the right path. Maybe
Right.
it'll get better. Everyone says, oh, medical school is so hard, but residency is great. Oh, residency is killer. But once you get to fellowship, it's really great. Well, fellowship is tough. And, once you get to be an attending, oh, no, wait, when you're an attending, your life really sucks. And so you're just on this constant treadmill or dreadmill hamster wheel of moving forward.
Yes.
And you just don't see a way out. So I was caught in that trap and I didn't see a way out, yet I was absolutely miserable and burned out and didn't realize it. I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. I had nightmares every single night. I was exhausted. I was just like that bone tiredness they talk about in burnout, where you just don't feel you can do anything. And I dreaded going to work. And then you start developing compassion fatigue, which is something very common to healthcare workers and people in service professions, where you start to resent the job and the people that you're actually supposed to be serving and helping.
Sure.
And then you feel a lot of shame and guilt around that. And so you think, what is wrong with me? What is going on? What is this? Like, I went into this to help people and I'm feeling so overwhelmed and so resentful and so much like this is the wrong thing. And I used to joke that I took the subway to work every morning. I was at Columbia in New York City, and the C train, the A train would come, and I would ask myself, well, should I get on it or walk in front of it?
Oh my gosh. So then when did you finally decide enough is enough?
Yeah, unfortunately.
And then how did you make that decision?
It was not easy. So unfortunately, it took a really major wake-up call that literally came in the form of a phone call. So it was a call from my best friend from medical school one night saying that her husband had been playing Frisbee. He collapsed. They rushed him to the hospital. And I said, well, but, he's okay, right? And she said, no, he didn't make it. And this was a young, healthy person. He was my age, 35. And I just was in shock and nearly dropped the phone. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I cannot keep living my life on layaway, hoping that one day something will improve. Maybe I'll be happy somehow. Maybe this career that is not the right fit will somehow fit. Maybe the square peg, I'll keep hammering it into the round hole and somehow it'll work. That was a massive wake-up call for me. That was not something I could keep waiting for.
Sure. So then when you're thinking about it, did you make the decision on your own? Do you talk to people? Was it just something you were driving to work and you're just like, I'm just going to quit today? Like,
yeah, pretty much.
How do you do that? Oh, seriously.
I mean, it was a revelation that I had that I don't think I can do this anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what is on the other side of the cliff that I'm about to jump off of. I don't know if there's a parachute or not. I did speak to my program director at the time, who was a really compassionate person who actually supported my decision. And it was not easy. It was excruciating. Right. You've invested all of this time, all of this energy. Your entire identity is wrapped up in this. It's not just a job.
Right.
It is truly who you are. And really the only thing that got me out of it was the Turkish proverb that said, no matter how far you've gone down the wrong road, turn back.
Oh, yeah. Wait, say that again for the people in the back, because that is good.
Yeah. No matter how far you've gone down the wrong road, turn back.
Amazing.
And that it was my mantra, and it gave me permission to do the impossible, to do what felt unthinkable, which is to walk away from a career that I had invested my entire life into, literally and
Right.
figuratively, financially, emotionally, mentally, professionally, identity wise. And I managed to do it. It took me a while. It took me another 6 months or so to actually make it happen. But
Right. So you took the leap. Did you have anything lined up or no? No.
nope.
So that is just, so I'm always so curious because I've been in a situation where I actually got fired from my job because and then the same company that fired me hired me as a full-time consultant.
Of
And people were
course.
like, how does that work? And I'm like, because I was amazing at the work. I was not good at the relationships back then. Like, I look back and I think I know exactly, but I was so burnt out. And the thing is with burnout, you don't really know what's happening. Like,
No,
it's like a frog in water. Like, you can throw a frog in boiling water and they'll jump right out. But burnout's like,
that's exactly the analogy that I always
yes,
use.
it is. They'll sit in a pot of water and you turn up the heat and they'll sit there until they
1
die.
degree at a time.
Yeah, because
It's a slow burn.
and then everyone around you is generally as miserable and is just like as much as you are. And so you're just like, well,
Or not.
I guess this is what it is. Oh,
or
really?
not. The people around me were happy because that was the right fit for them. It was the
screw
right
them.
career, the
Yes,
right job.
Yeah, right.
So that's almost even more isolating. When everyone around you is miserable, you're like, this place sucks. We all need to quit.
Right.
But that wasn't the case. It was, yes, residency's harder, fellowship's harder, medicine's hard. And we were all struggling in our own way, but people were so, jazzed about it and so fulfilled and so excited to go to work. And I just thought to myself, I don't know what Kool-Aid they're drinking, but I would love some, but I don't have that. That's not happening for me at all.
Okay, so then what is the first thing you did when you leave? So you finally leave. You're just like, okay, I'm leaving this career. I don't know where you were like in
desperately needed to find a job. I was living in New York City.
Oh my God. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah. So that's, my daughter lives there. So I have a sense of what the rents are like there. Yeah.
It's not cheap. And so I desperately needed to find a job. I found a job really quickly. I was very lucky. And found an incredible opportunity at a startup.
What was the job?
So I was director of research at a medical health technology startup. And we served underprivileged and linguistically different populations in the US. So we were helping immigrants and people whose English was not their first language. Maybe they did not speak English, access healthcare in various different ways through innovative technology. Yeah, it was a really cool job. The boss ended up being kind of abusive. So I ended up leaving because it was sort of a frying pan fire situation where I normalized a lot of things that were not normal, but because I had been so used to working in medicine, I thought, leaving the office at 11 p.m. was just fine because before I had been there overnight. So this was a vacation.
You're like half day.
Yeah, great. And then I just realized, okay, this is a little crazy and I need to find something else, something a little more stable, something where I'm treated with a little bit more respect. And I was able to find a job in the pharmaceutical industry. And, I had a great job working as a medical science liaison and then eventually working my way up to medical director.
Amazing. So I have a medical affairs client. Is that what you were in at the medical affairs?
Yes.
That is something. Yes. Oh my gosh. Like I had no idea that industry even existed. And it is so fascinating.
It is.
And I really did get schooled because people are very passionate about making sure that healthcare providers understand like the medications. And it's such a cool,
absolutely.
I think it's a cool, like, I think people don't, I had no idea that industry even existed, and it's super cool and really important.
Yeah. And we were involved in, drug applications and approvals and safety and ethics and all of these things that were really fascinating and wonderful. But then, and then I finally met my husband and finally got married and had a baby in my 40s. And I wasn't prepared for how that would impact my life. That was another curveball. I was 100% certain I would never be a stay-at-home mom. And then, life is what happens when you're making other plans, right? So once the baby showed up, I was not leaving her with somebody else. And so
Right.
then I walked away yet again and became a stay-at-home mom.
I love that. I love that. So then how did you get into functional medicine and preventing burnout?
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, things always sort of come full circle. And once I had been, momming for a little while, I thought, I love this. I love my kid more than life itself. And I also need to do more. And all of
Yes.
my medical education, I didn't go through all of that for nothing. I wanted to be able to use it and apply it. And I still had that drive to help people and
Right.
serve people.
Sure.
So, yeah, so I ended up retraining as a health coach and went to the Institute of Integrative Nutrition.
Oh,
And
very cool.
yeah, it was amazing, and did a certification in health coaching. Yeah, so I was really interested in integrative nutrition because of the holistic approach to health and wellness, and really wanting to help people focus on wellness and health rather
Yes.
than illness and disease, which is what I had been focusing on most of my life, and really wanted to switch gears in that way. So I worked as a health coach for a while, started my own private health coaching practice, and really loved a lot of aspects about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to
You're
do
like,
more. Yes.
right. Yes.
And I wanted more education in terms of being able to tell people more than just, hey, drink more water, eat more greens, get more
Right.
sunlight. I wanted to go really deep and practice more precision medicine, bioindividuality,
Mm,
get to the root causes of things from a biochemical physiologic perspective. And
that is
yeah,
fascinating. That
and
sounds
functional
super
medicine
cool.
really fit the bill.
Well, because you can work with anyone then anywhere in the world, right? As long as they
Yeah,
get the blood, like the right test that you need, you
sure.
can,
Yeah.
that's
And you can
incredible.
do a lot without blood tests as well. So I went to a school of applied functional medicine, did a 3-year program in functional medicine because I'm a glutton for punishment and I love school. And
Yeah.
it was really phenomenal. And it was a lot of things that I wished that we had learned in medical school when it comes to health and wellness and different
What do you think is the
approaches.
difference between medical Western? Is it because they divide the body into 100 separate parts and that you specialize? Or what is it, the difference you would say between functional medicine and what we would consider traditional Western medicine? What is that missing link?
Well, I think that conventional medicine is really more of a disease based model. And
Right.
it's
That makes
more
sense.
of let's look at these symptoms, let's make a diagnosis, let's treat this situation, this particular illness and diagnosis. And it's fairly similar across the boards. And, this is what we do. These are the medications that we prescribe or the procedures that we prescribe. But there is a distinct lack of focus on health and wellness and
Mm,
prevention. And I think that is a huge gaping hole in our healthcare system. And we really do need to focus on, you know, holistically, the person as a whole. What does their life look like? What do their habits
right.
look like? We're learning that lifestyle is so important in health and wellness. Genetics are a huge factor. So it's a combination of, genetics and environment and lifestyle choices,
Sure.
stress being a huge component of health and wellness, which I didn't realize until I became very ill and had autoimmune disease, needed surgery, all because I was eating all the kale, doing all the running and exercise and
Right.
doing quote unquote everything right. Couldn't understand why I was so sick. And it was just the decades of chronic stress catching up to
Oh
me.
my gosh. I interviewed somebody for Curveball and it was fascinating because she was a health coach or a life coach. And then when she started to feel sick, like when she was burning out, she's, of course, I hit everything like 100% harder. So then she started to do this really hardcore workout. She completely had this like super disciplined diet. And she literally had full body paralysis, like her adrenal system, like literally.
Wow.
And I was just like, I had no idea your body could become paralyzed because like adrenal stresses can be so significant.
It's I mean, the body
That
is
was
really
shocking. I never knew that.
it will try to protect you in any way possible. And so I always say, if you're driving and you see the check engine light come on, and maybe it flashes on for a second and then it goes off, and you think, I can probably ignore that. And I think as women, sometimes we're driving in our lives, metaphorically speaking, and that light comes on and it's pretty bright. And then it starts staying on. It's not flashing anymore. It's just on permanently. And what do? We're like, let me get the duct tape out and just tape over that because it's really annoying and I don't want to look at it anymore.
The car's still running.
The car's still running, right?
Yeah.
Rather than, oh shit,
what is it?
Look at this. Take a step
but what is it about like stress and burnout that people don't know, that you're just like, oh my God, if people really understood it like this one thing like I do, what would that be? That would like just, I really want you to blow my mind. So then next time I'm out with friends, I can be like, oh my God, guess what about stress?
Well, I think
you'll make me so much more interesting. Thank you.
I think that it's more and more known now, but people don't take it seriously enough how much of an impact stress, chronic stress, and burnout can have, not only on your mental health, but on your physical health. Mm-hmm. Everything from migraines to sleep disruption to TMJ to high blood pressure, diabetes, autoimmune disease.
I would imagine gut issues up the wazoo.
Gut health. Yes, absolutely. Dysbiosis, gut disruption.
I just remember when I worked corporately, sometimes my entire day of food would consist of my morning latte and then just Jolly Ranchers from the receptionist desk and like saltine crackers left over in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh.
If I was lucky, I might have like peanut butter at my desk, but it's like.
It sounds like a very well-balanced diet.
Isn't that just awful? And the number of times like I would just not even have a chance to eat. There are so many days like I think like I have calls with my clients who they're like 8 minutes late because they're booking all their calls back to back, or they're coming on with wet hair because they're just like, just can't get everything done because they're just so like multitasking and stuff. And I'm just like, I used to be that way too, never with wet hair. But,
you talk about your diet, and I mean, you worked in corporate, but that diet, that was like a classic diet of people in medicine as well. So you're all saying, do as I say, not as I do.
Yes. You're like, I'm hungry. Eating. You're like, I don't even have a Jolly Rancher. I'm going to have to suck on a button.
I make a joke in my TED Talk about how I learned something fascinating in medical school about the human body, and that, doctors don't pee.
Oh, yeah.
Because we don't have time. So
that is just, I am somebody who goes to the bathroom all the time. So I don't know if obviously my time for medical school is come and gone, but.
Right. Yeah. That wouldn't fly nowadays, postpartum, perimenopause. No.
That's right.
But it's just really, it was a joke. But the point is that we really sacrifice even basic bodily function, things like sleep, eating, going to the bathroom.
Right.
We think all of that is expendable and that we can just keep pushing.
Well, just think about how much we're messing with the system, like how we're literally intended to wake up with the sun, get sleepy when it gets dark out. You have your body that is, we eat, we process the food, we eliminate the waste. And then you're just like, I'm not going to do any of those things.
Right.
And yet I still want you to keep on. I think it's so interesting too, just especially as a woman, like I went to a retreat in Costa Rica and we were doing some breath work. And this woman's like, really, we're all sitting down, so this woman's put your hand on your stomach, which I hate doing, number one. And then she's like, breathe into your stomach. And I was like, God, why is this so uncomfortable? And then I realized, because I don't know if at the age of 10, I think my mom pulled me aside and just said, look, you got to start holding in your stomach. And so we've all been told like to hold in our stomachs to the point that we're not even like breathing is uncomfortable. This breathwork person was like, look at a baby breathe. Like their stomach is just, they're doing all this like amazing belly breathing. And I'm like, it was like really interesting too, and then I think the language we use when we're in that state of stress, like we're so mean to our body and when our body literally just keeps on showing up for us every single day. Even if you didn't sleep, like you go for 2 nights without sleeping or you're working and you can still function. Not well, but you're still functioning,
Right.
adequately. And that's just really incredible.
You can get away with it for a while, but not forever.
Until that
and
is
then
so true.
once you hit a certain age for women, all of that stuff that worked, all of the things you put your body through in your 20s and 30s, they stop working.
What age is that?
I mean, it's different for everybody,
right?
But, we say that perimenopause, starts 10 to 15 years before menopause itself. And the average age for menopause is 51? So 35-ish.
That is so interesting.
Which is exactly when my, reckoning happened. Was my system just said, can't do this anymore. It's not whatever got me here is not going to get me there. And you just hit a wall.
What a gift. I mean, in the end, that your body got loud enough. And then the thing is that you listened.
Yeah.
Because one of the things too, is I've learned from interviewing many people who've had some really wild health things happen on this podcast, is that your body gives you clues like,
oh yes,
so far in advance, like so many clues. And it's usually, you get to a point that you're like, okay, something's way off. So now I'm going to go. Like your car won't start, or, like to use your engine light analogy.
Yeah, I mean, if your car won't start and every day you're hot wiring it and you think, well, it's fine because I got it to start.
Yeah.
I have this workaround now. It's cool. And that was me. Every night I had nightmares and I thought, well, I guess that is what my life is. And
so you probably just never had restorative sleep.
No. And the minute I quit, the minute I walked away, nightmares went away.
Amazing. When I left my corporate job, of course, I didn't go to the dentist for 3 years. And going to the dentist used to be just horrible. My teeth were so sensitive and getting through a cleaning was just like unbearable almost. And so I was telling the woman, I'm like, okay, my teeth are super sensitive. And then she's starting to brush my teeth and I'm like, wait, this feels fine. And I said, could stress cause your teeth to be sensitive? And she's, oh yeah. Like you probably, and I said, cause that's really amazing because I have my own business now and my teeth are fine. Like I could chew ice cubes if I wanted to.
That's wild.
And I'm like, that is, well, how sensitive they were. And then I get out of it and then now they're not. So your ability to rebound.
Yeah.
Even when you're not even aware of it is amazing. Like just removing yourself. Oh, this is perfect for my next question. When you're removing yourself from that environment, I got kicked out. Like I did. I got fired. I'd never had, but here I am 11 years later.
Probably the best thing that ever happened to you.
It really was because I found my voice as a consultant because the relationship is completely different. And I was not good at the relationships back then. Like I really, believe me, I've done so much therapy and like soul searching and reading and that kind of stuff. And just really understanding who was I, who was that version of me. And I completely understand who she was. She was just trying she had so much to prove. That's what it really comes down to is I was just like, and I don't like it when I get that proving and it feels like I call it my proving energy.
Yeah.
And I feel like that corporate environment is just prime, or hospital systems, any place where there's a hierarchy, and you're ambitious and
you're a woman.
It's just, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. On top of it. And then I came from a really fighting family. So, and then my stepdad's an attorney. So believe me, you do not want to get into a fight with me.
Yeah.
And I remember once I told my husband, I'm like, I'm really good at fighting. And he's like, I know. That's not something to necessarily be proud of. But so if someone wanted to fight or something or they wanted to disagree, I was like, whatever, it's on. Like I had no fear.
Bring it.
Yeah. And then sometimes I would be like, I'm just giving someone just like a little love tap. And I wouldn't. It would really sort of like really decimate them. That was something I really had to dive deep into because there were times where I'd be fun, like we'd be having fun. And then times where I was really hurtful to people. I did some things like I just met with one of my marketing managers last week who I used to work with. And I'm like, I am just so sorry for those times I came in so hot, and I can understand who I am, like, and forgive myself for that. But God, I just still feel so bad because I hurt people. And God, I didn't mean for this to turn into a therapy session for Heather, but
It's
okay. But my point
Yeah.
being, like, when you remove yourself from that environment,
Yeah.
even being out of it, like your body's going to start to rebound. I mean, without you even, one of the things I had a hard time, like when I was traveling for business, is I had a really hard time sleeping. So I was like, I would have to take like an Ambien on a business trip, which is lights out. And what I also think is interesting is once I was out of that environment, I have no problem sleeping in a hotel. Like I don't, and I'm just like, that's so weird. So you have this philosophy, do one thing less.
Yeah.
So this seems so simple, but tell me a little bit about how it works and why it is such a good tool for preventing burnout.
Yeah. So I think as women, we are sort of conditioned to associate our self-worth and our value with our productivity and how much we're doing and how much we're doing for others, whether it's working or whether it's being a mom. And it's just always do go. And we get so wrapped up in that and so used to that as a baseline that we can't even really fathom not doing that. And I hear this a lot from folks I work with. I'm like, well, I can't change anything. I can't do less. And I can't, I can't let this thing go or this thing go or this thing go. And I'm like, really? And I try to talk them through it and think, first of all, your worth is not determined by what you do or what you accomplish in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, in a lifetime. It is about who you are. And that is enough. Number one. Number two, there has to be some sort of prioritization of what matters, what is important, and what, really can be let go of. Delete, delay, delegate. We know that mantra, but we don't practice it necessarily. And, we think, well, I can't do less because I need to keep going and be productive. And so the analogy that I use is, let's say you're clearing a table and you've got all these dishes, you've had a dinner party or something, and you're piling the plates up. So you've got all the plates stacked up and you've pretty much cleared the whole table, but there's like this one pesky cup that's left on the table. And so what are we going to do, right?
Yes, we're women. We're doing one trip only.
One trip only. We're going to pick it up. We're going to add it to the pile. And we're going to all the dishes
pick it up with our foot and hang it on our pinky.
The dishes are all going to come crashing down.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
As opposed to just leaving it on the table. That's doing one thing less. Leave it on the table, walk away, clear those dishes, come back for it. It's okay. Well, but I'm doing one thing less, so I'm going to be less productive. Well, how much time and energy and money is wasted sweeping up broken glass and replacing all those dishes? So we don't realize that we are actually kind of shooting ourselves in the foot by trying to do, or like you've been in that situation where you've got all these grocery bags and you're trying to carry them all in at the same time. And then one of them rips and then it's a feed forward system, or you're running all these errands and then you get into a fender bender because you're stressed and you're running and you're going, or you get a parking ticket, or it's just, we're trying to do too much, cram too much into too short of a time, multitasking, which doesn't work. We know this.
It does. Well, it's such bullshit. Like, I just think when people are like, I'm a great multitasker, because my kids were like, we're raised to be multitasking. So I would do this. I would turn on a television show. And I said, I'm going to be talking to you about something, but I really want you to be paying attention to the TV show, but I'm also going to be talking to you. And so I would read them some fact out of National Geographic or something. And I'm like, okay, so what did I say?
And then they were like,
well, no, because I said, because you were paying attention to you're going to pay like whatever attention, like you're going to pay attention. I said, now pay attention to me. And then tell me what happened on the television show. And they're like, well, I don't. And I said, because you can't multitask. Like you can't like my daughters, I listen to podcasts when I'm working and I'm just like, no, you don't. I mean, they're on, but you sometimes, yes, but mainly no,
I mean, if I ever find myself in the car and I'm listening to a podcast and I'm home and I'm parked in the driveway, I don't do this while I'm driving, obviously. And I'm like, oh, I need to check this email, blah, blah, blah. And then you get stuck in the email and then you're like, wait, what just happened on the podcast? What happened in the last 10 minutes? I have no idea. You got to stop. You got to rewind because you can't, your brain cannot process all of these things. And we know, research tells us that every interruption, the statistic goes something like every interruption costs you another 27 minutes to get back on track with what you're doing. I mean, we can't.
Well, I just think about ADHD. I have ADHD. So the number of times like I bounce from thing to thing, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like once I learned that stat, which is really, I'm very inspired by the ADHD mantra. Don't put it down, put it away. And so that really inspires. I literally have to say, Heather, you got to fit. Like today, I was in the shower and I
live in a household of ADHD people. So
oh my God. I was in the shower today and I shaved one leg. And then I was just like, oh my gosh, like my shower head is not, I want to switch like the flow of it. So in the middle of that, I'm like, I do that immediately. And I forgot to shave my other leg.
Oh my God.
And it's hugely unsatisfying to have one shaved leg. Like, but I'm just like, Heather Campbell, you didn't do your mantra, finish what you started, which is finish shaving your legs, then do that. So that, but I really have to tell myself that because that stat was just like, no wonder ADHD people have a lot of stress. I was also a classic underestimator of time. Too. So one of my games that I do is I'm like, I wonder how long this will take me. And then how long does it actually take me? And I really figured out if I think something's going to take 20 minutes, it's going to take an hour. 1 hour is 3 hours. 3 hours is 5 hours.
A factor of 3 pretty much.
Well then, but if you think something's going to take 5 hours, it's 2 days. And you're going to go to Home Depot for something, like for some reason, but it's like I had to learn all those things because I realized I would say, oh, it takes me like 3 hours to pull together this presentation, when in reality, it takes 5. And so if I'm really trying to like compress it because, putting it off until I'm up against a super tight deadline, because then that's how I get to focus. It's no wonder I was stressed out because I was trying to do 5 hours of work in 3 hours. I can't do now. I know. So I'm so curious because you're a physician and also a professional opera singer. So how do those overlap at all? Or how does that, do you sing to people ever?
No, but
do you still sing?
Yes, I do. So I sing with the Portland Symphonic Choir here in Portland, Oregon. And we sing with the symphony and we make recordings. We're doing.
What is your favorite opera to sing?
Oh, so I don't really sing opera that much anymore. I mean, we just mostly sing choral stuff, but I love La Traviata. It's a really
that is opera. My favorite. That is my favorite too. Yes.
Yeah.
It was the first opera I went to because in Columbus you could go and you could go watch the rehearsals for like $2. So as a college student, my husband and I would do that. And then I had no idea that they had subtitles, which is super helpful because then you could do the whole story.
Like, you need to know the story. It's not just singing.
My God. I was just like, oh my God. And then I remember I was reading Tristan and Isolde for like in a class. And then I went to go see that opera. And I was just like, oh my God. It was so good.
It's high drama, which is really fun. I really enjoy that. And like we talked a little bit earlier about breath work and breathing from your diaphragm. And well, guess what? Being an opera singer, being a singer my whole life, I can do that. I do that naturally. Right. And I think that has actually been a secret weapon for me in terms of regulating my nervous system, going back down into parasympathetic mode, getting out of that fight or flight mode. Because when you're breathing correctly and you're breathing deeply from a low place in the body rather than a high, anxious, shallow chest breathing, then it really does help with that stress and overwhelm. So,
well, I interviewed somebody who was one of the founding members of Heart Math. Have you heard of Heart Math?
Yes, I have.
So it was super cool. And he was like, your heart is what's telling your brain, like so it's not your brain telling your body, like, look, we're in danger. It's literally your heart. And so all those things that help to get your heart is what, and then what I think is so interesting is when you're in that state too, like it all makes so much sense. Like your thinking part of your brain is, nope, we got to focus on survival. So we're just not going to we're not going to give any energy to that part. So like when people are like, I don't know what I was thinking, I was not in my right mind. It's like,
you weren't
just that
thinking.
regular. Yeah. I mean, it is, what an amazing machine we are.
Yeah.
And then that you can take just 3 breaths. Like I started to do Tai Chi. And so you always start like with this, very specific flow movement. It's just about energy and breath. And I'm like, I should do this before every coaching call that I host, because everyone comes in a little angsty, nervous about not knowing something. They think that they should know things like, and I'm like, no, but that would be something that I'm like, this is like movement and breath. And it would be like, because you can't help it. That's so interesting about breath work. So that was my last question for you. If someone's listening who's sort of in that burnout stage, or they're just like, I guess I am burnt out because I didn't, I'm that frog in the water. What's one small first step? Would it be just breathing? Or is it something else that you recommend?
Well, breathing is fantastic. And I think, I recommend it to everybody that I work with and speak with. Breathing is an autonomic function. It's an automatic function. We don't think about it most of the time.
Right.
I mean, we're breathing, we're not thinking about it. If you had to think about every breath, you'd be exhausted.
Yes.
But so it is something unconscious, but you can also take conscious control of it and make it intentional. And when you do that and you breathe in a specific way, you breathe deeply, you breathe longer breaths, you inhale, you hold your breath for a period, you have longer exhales, that does activate the parasympathetic, the rest and digest nervous system. So
what
I
is
love
it about
breathing.
What is it about the longer exhales? Because I just was chatting with a breathwork expert. They were like, as long as your exhales are longer than your inhales, why does that work?
It has to do with the pressure and the diaphragm and in the lungs, and like that you're activating that pressure for longer, and it activates the parasympathetic nervous system.
That is so, God, the part that we even have I was in a class about the lymphatic system, and I'm like, how is that even a thing? And then what it's just amazing. And then we're just born with it.
It's like wild. We can't understand it. We can't totally engineer it. It's just so wild. And and we need to really take care of it. So yes, breath work is amazing. But I would say for people who are actually suspecting that they're burned out, which is, first of all, a massive achievement if you suspect that you're burned out, because most of us don't. Most of us get to a point where you hit a wall or something terrible happens or something dramatic happens to wake you up to that.
I feel like there's a lot of shame in admitting you're burnt out too. Like when I got fired from my job, I would be like, oh, I was on the top of the roller coaster of burning out. Like I was almost there. No, I wasn't. But it took me like 3 years to really admit. And I thought there must be a lot of shame around this.
It took me at least 10, 12. I don't know. I just didn't know. I didn't have the vocabulary.
That's how powerful the societal narrative is.
Yes.
This performative thing. I think about, my mom was super into the ERA in the 70s. And I just think about this perfume that came out, like Angele. And I can bring home the bacon. I can fry it up in a pan and never let you forget you're a man. And I just remember like the ad campaign was like a woman with a baby on her hip and then 8 arms, like one with a pan, one with probably like a dildo, I'm just like, what? And then I was like, that was the standard set for the modern woman.
So really just be an octopus. Yeah.
Yeah. Like seriously. And do it all. And I just really think like when you added like women then going more so like where work was something that was like not common for women, like how you decided to be a stay-at-home mom. You're just like, I didn't think I would be that way, but like how it's a choice now, I just think it's I just think it's interesting that society, I don't know. I read this really cute article in Time magazine from the 60s about computers. And they were like, oh my gosh, when we have computers at the office, it will literally reduce the work week to 2 days. Like they
Oh my
never
God.
anticipated that we would figure out how to do more in the same amount of time. Like that was never even
Right. That
reported
it
on,
actually has made us work
Yes.
more because
Yes.
we're constantly working because we have our
Yes.
offices in our back
Yeah,
pockets.
and then you make
We're
it so
constantly
portable.
reachable. Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
We're on all the
amazing.
time. You could literally work 24/7. Before you would just punch a clock and you walk in at
Yes.
9, leave at 5. No one could reach you. It was
No,
great.
like when you could bring home paperwork if you wanted to
Yeah.
bring work home, like paper from the copier machine.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have a computer at home.
It's true.
Or if
Yeah.
you did, it wasn't connected to anything at work. I mean, it's just, it's amazing.
It's mind blowing. Yeah. But so to wrap up what I was saying about if someone's listening to the show and they suspect they might have burnout, first of all, congratulations for even thinking about it. Second of all, if you suspect that you might be burnout, you're probably
You are
burnt out.
Yeah.
And I would definitely seek some help. Talk to somebody, either talk to a friend, talk to a family member, talk to somebody at work. If you've got support at work, if you've got a good HR, if you've got, mental health support at work, talk to a counselor, talk to a therapist, talk to a coach.
Could you give us like a conversation starter for that? Because I get what you're saying, but like, what would you say to somebody? Like, let's say I go to like my friend. What would I say to my friend?
It's just, I'm really struggling right now. I suspect I might be burning out. I don't know how much longer I can do what I'm doing. I need to do something different. I need to change my life. I'm just not sure what or how. And I would love some support, whether it's just venting or bouncing ideas off or just some love and compassion and connection from another human who says, I see you. I see you're struggling. I see how hard you are working and trying. And it's okay to put down some of that 1,000-pound weight that you're carrying. It's okay to let something go. It's okay to ask for help. You don't have to do it all the time, all by yourself.
Right. Yes.
That permission slip, So this is your permission slip, this episode, to put down some of what you're carrying, ask for help, seek help. Just don't keep it bottled up inside. And just think you can keep going the way you're going because you can't, you won't.
Right. Well, and I think it's good to ask that question too. Like something needs to change. I don't know what it looks like because when you get curious about that, like that's when you do have like small answers. Like I remember when I came back from my own broken brain last summer, I was like, how can I keep things low and slow? Like, how can I get more by doing less? And which seems so counterintuitive. But the thing is, when you ask the question, you're open, like you're curious. I'm curious. I wonder how that. And then all of a sudden, like you start to get these little ideas, oh, well, you could do this. Or what if you did this instead? And you're just like, so I think it's amazing just even asking the question is going to open up your mind to possibility.
And I think oftentimes we do know. We do have the answers. We just have suppressed that inner voice so much. And that the default is, well, I don't know, because that's safer and less scary than admitting what you do know. I knew I had to leave medicine for ages. I just couldn't admit that. That was too scary. That was too difficult. It was too daunting. It was impossible. So I pretended that I didn't know. Right. So, well, I don't know. I just have to keep going. So I think oftentimes when we say, oh, I don't know what to do, you do know what to do. You just don't want to admit it because then that will require certain things and certain steps. But in the end, it's going to get you where you need to go.
It does. Some really smart person told me it doesn't matter how far down you are on the wrong road, wherever you are, turn back. Yeah, this is amazing. Dr. Rubin, if people want to work with you or, I don't know, check you out or, I don't know, like how can they get in touch with you? How can they?
So probably the best way is to go to my website, which is just drzarya.com. Head over to Instagram. I'm at Dr. Zarya Rubin on Instagram. So I show up there all the time. You can also download, I have a freebie for folks. It is an Outsmart Burnout toolkit. So it is
Amazing.
like a kind of like a workbook. It does cover a lot of the things that we talked about today, along with some exercises and some reflections and some prompts and things that you can fill out for yourself that talk
Right.
about your particular stressors, your particular, self-care rituals and types of
Right.
rest and things, and talks about the do one thing less mantra and some other stuff. So that's free. You can get that on the website or on my Instagram
Amazing.
bio.
Well, you have such like a joyful, radiant, happy personality. So I'm like, you have like, I'll have what she's having
Oh
type
my
of
gosh.
energy.
Oh, and yes, and listen to my podcast. So I have a podcast called Outsmart Burnout, and it's super fun and interesting. We interview fabulous people like possibly Miss Heather
Yes.
Campbell.
We will be doing a podcast
Yes,
swap.
every week we have a new guest, and these guests are brilliant and they're insightful and they're talented and they're from all different walks of life, and they all share either aspects of their personal burnout story, which most of them have, and
Mhm.
aspects of what they do, whether they're a boundaries coach or someone speaks about eldest daughter syndrome, whether somebody is a functional nutritionist, someone is talking about how the intersection of burnout, patriarchy, capitalism, and white supremacy. So we have really deep, amazing conversations on the show.
That sounds so interesting. Yeah.
That's coming next season. And we also have a lot of trauma talk on the show,
Right,
and about
yeah.
the intersection of burnout and childhood trauma and somatics, healing, breath work, all that good stuff. So check it out. It's on Apple
Amazing.
Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. And yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This has been so much fun. I feel like I should pay you like a fee for it. I learned so much.
Girl, I love sharing about burnout and sharing my story and my struggles, because I truly hope that it reaches somebody and that somebody listens and somebody says, okay, I didn't know that I was burnt out, but now I do.
Yeah.
And
amazing.
now I get to do something about it. Now I get to change my life.
Right.
This is your, like I say at the end of every podcast episode, burnout is not your destiny. It's your wake up call.
Oh my God. I love that. Woo, mic drop. We're going to end on that. Thank you so much. This has been a blast.
Thank you so much, Heather.